Hey fam, it's your girl Nachi, and I'm here with
Damaris, the notorious menace to the Matrix.
not a menace to the Matrix.
Yes, they can't stand me. I'm trying to feed my people.
Oh, I know that's right. Oh goodness. Well, we are going to talk about finding joy in your purpose. I know for me, I feel that a lot of people believe that purpose is one thing that we're looking to do or it, I know when I in the past I used to think, oh, I want to find what my purpose is. I don't know what my purpose is, but I feel like purpose could be so many different things, and we're gonna get into all of that. We're gonna talk about what is purpose, how do we define that, and what would your journey look like in finding your purpose, and how do you live in joy through that journey? So we're gonna get into all of that.
Yeah, it's that is this is going to be a very interesting topic because I feel like I always say that. This
It's
is
always interesting, girl.
yeah, no, it it is. And it's funny because I think this is a question or an inquiry, a self inquiry I've had for definitely I, for me, it started in my and
Hmm.
definitely into my 40s. And I'll say that I think it's a given, but I also think it's important to highlight that purpose is unique to each individual.
Right. Yeah.
And the reason I even am stating that is because I think many times, and I've done this before, you'll look at someone's life and you'll see things that you like, that you want to aspire to, and then you believe, well, or you start to think, perhaps I should be doing that too. Maybe this is that is what success looks like. So perhaps that's what I should make my life intention to be. I should be the best at that because that person is they're looking like they're living their best life and I want to emulate that, so maybe I should do what they're doing. And this is why I say that purpose is unique to each individual because what you see that person doing is may not necessarily be what your journey should be.
Yeah,
And
and I think it also confuses a person in terms of, like you said, you look at somebody's life and you feel, and not even so much you want to walk in the same path that they did, but I feel it makes you think of what is my purpose? They seem to have found their purpose so easily. How is that, how is that possible? What do I need to do? And you start,
right,
I think it leads to a person feeling stuck at times because they're in this place of, I need to find my purpose. I don't know what my purpose is. What is my purpose? I feel like I have no purpose, or I wish I was like
mm,
that person who, seem to have known what their purpose was so early in life, and they've made a life for themselves, that they're so successful and they're thriving, at least from what you see from the outside. And it is unique to each person. It's not going to
right,
be the same, and it's not going to look the same. So that's definitely something that we need to start thinking about, and really dissecting what that is for you, and how to walk in that purpose.
right. And for me, I know that I had to sit with myself and let the answer come to me because it's not something that I think for some people, yes, I think they know early on in their life for whatever reason,
Yes. Yes.
they're just more aligned with themselves in a way
Hmm.
that they're able to identify this is my purpose, this is what drives me, this is what motivates me.
Right.
But it wasn't right away for me, that's for sure. But I will say it definitely came in that moment of stillness for me.
Hmm.
And my purpose, I'll say, hands down, my understanding of my purpose has evolved over time too. I don't know if you felt that way for yourself, but I know what I felt I understood of my purpose in my early 30s is definitely more, has crystallized more now in my 40s. And I'll say, like, yeah, like about 10, 12-ish years ago, I was like, oh, my purpose is to do God's will. But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really understand God's will for
Right.
me,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I was halfway there, but at least I came to that conclusion because I remember just thinking and being like, what should I be doing? Like, what is it that, because while I'm successful at work, I have a beautiful home, wonderful family, I'm not fully like feeling like I'm really doing what I should be doing in life. But my life is still pretty good.
Right.
And
Right.
so,
But you
uh,
felt like there was something missing. Like,
yeah, like it just wasn't like, I was like, I'm pretty sure there's more to this. And
mm-hmm.
so,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
where, but I finally got to that place where instead of just overthinking and thinking that it has to be, oh, it's me starting my e-commerce business for fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all
Mm-hmm.
those things. It's like it was bigger than that. And it dawned on me that it's about, for me, was doing God's will. Now, what exactly was that? That's another story. That's the other
Right.
half.
Right. Right.
And I'll
Yeah.
say, yeah, and I'll say then now in my 40s, I'm like, no, I know my purpose is to do the Lord's work. And I do that by
Right.
living my best life.
Right. Right.
That was the
Yeah.
second part of that sentence that I didn't really understand, that I didn't understand of my purpose. My purpose, it's to live my best life, it's to be the best version of me. It's to to be authentic, to be true to me always
Mm-hmm.
100%, and
Yeah.
be free because you know I need my
Yeah.
freedom.
Yes. We all know that you need your freedom,
I need
girl.
to be free.
We
And
know. We know.
so having that understanding now of what I know my purpose to be, having to do, you know, having to do work that brings me joy, or something outside of a job that would bring me joy, to balance it out. But the bottom line is that I need to do, in order to fulfill my purpose of living my best life, that means I have to do things that make me happy.
Yes. And I think that's what it boils down to, at
Mhm.
least for me. And it took me a while
Yeah,
because for a very long time, I thought it was one thing. One thing
me
was
too.
my right. It's like,
Mhm.
and and I would just be so I would just get into, no, I have to figure
You
out
get in
what
your
is that
head.
one thing. I need to know what that one thing is. Why can't I figure out what that one thing is? And I realized, and I would say in the last few years, I
Mhm.
realized that it is not one thing for me.
And
It's
everyone's different
it,
that way too.
right, right. And it's going to what you said. What is making me happy right now? I think about people who are so successful in their career. Not that I'm not, but I it's not the end all and be all for me, right? Like my career is not the only thing that is a part of my life. I look at so many different things. I have so many different interests, and for me to find joy, to find purpose, I have to explore, and that is part of that journey is exploring, exploring those the different passions that you have, and being okay with it. It's not about just finding that one thing. It could be many
Oh, we know,
different
because that's the
things.
Gemini in you.
Oh my goodness.
You love a project.
I do love a project. I love to get into something, but I also get bored very quickly. Like, oh, okay, thank
Yes,
you. This is great. Now let me move on to the next. But I also find love in the things that I do, you know?
you do.
For example, I started off remember with when Madeline had all these skin issues when she was little,
Yes.
I started looking into, okay, well, I need to figure out what products I can make for her, because everything that I would buy outside, from the store, it just wasn't working. And
Filled with all them
and
chemicals.
yes, yes, yes. But it made me think of a good friend of mine. We know her, Ray Jean, who
Shout out to
um
Regine. We love her.
yes. She was just so I remember when she first did her body product, then we hosted her
Oh yes, in the
opening day.
apartment.
Yes. And it took me back to that place, because I was just like so excited for her and so amazed, and I just thought that that was awesome that she could do these body products herself. Like, in my head, I'm like, you just thought of doing this?
Right, right.
This just, and so it just took me back to that. But the whole idea of helping my daughter in one thing led me
Mhm.
to open up an experience of making different products like soaps and body butters and all of that, and just getting into all the nuances that come with creating these products. And I loved it.
Right.
I got into it, and that led me into wanting to look into different types of herbs. And now I don't make as many body products. I make some for my family, but now I'm so focused more on the different herbs. Like, how does it help us? How do we incorporate that in the different body products? So I feel like we go through the, journey from one place to the next, and it creates, um, it, I just wanted to paint this picture of how we go through life. That's how life is. It's like we get into something that we find joy in, and it opens up other doors and other opportunities that you can begin to do things. And so, for me, and just going back to Regine, she's another person that, and I would say your husband too. I would say your
Yes.
husband.
Yeah. Agreed.
He's another
Another
one that
Gemini.
he's another one that I admire, because it's like he finds something that he truly enjoys, and
Mhm.
he gets all into it, and he finds everything that you can possibly think of that particular
Yes.
topic.
Obsessive to the point
Yeah.
that it's obsessive. But yeah,
But it brings him joy,
it does.
right?
It
And he was
balances
just,
him out because
yeah,
he has a consulting job, but it's not something that
he
he loves 100%.
right. And
So,
yeah, yeah. And I think that's, the point I want to draw on, is that it doesn't have to be something that's specific to your career,
right,
or
exactly.
it has to be your family, that it has to be focused around your family or your kids. It really is about
Hmm.
what's bringing you that high energy, that what lights you up.
Yes.
And that is what's going to drive you in whatever that you're doing. And again, it could lead to many different things.
So
But the
how do
point is,
you?
is
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
no,
cut you
I,
off.
I was just going to say, the point is just that it's your purpose. It's not, you're not living anyone else's life. You're
Right.
living your own life, and it doesn't have to look like your cousins or your
Yeah.
parents or your best friend or anyone else. It has to look like,
Though we know as Dominicans, they
they
stay
always
trying to
gonna
compare
compare.
you like,
Yes.
tu prima, ya tú la viste. Okay.
Yes. Yes, yes. It's
Ella
always
se
a battle.
casó.
Yes. It's always about competition.
And it's like, okay, well, that's their life. That's their story.
Right. That
That's
ain't
not my
me.
story. Leave me
That ain't
alone.
me. That ain't me. That
I
ain't
say that
me.
respectfully.
Hmm.
Leave me the fuck alone. No, thankfully your parents, I mean, to some degree, but they were definitely on that.
Yes,
You're
yes.
going to school.
Right.
There
You
was
had
never
no choice.
any, yeah, there was never this,
There's no
oh yeah, I'm gonna explore after high school. They're like,
right.
right, you're going to college. Stop playing these games.
Right, because I don't know what you think you're gonna be doing after high
And I
school.
mean, yeah, facts. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't even know what to
Mm-hmm.
do outside of that. But so let's talk about the journey of finding the purpose, right? I
Mm-hmm.
talked about it a little bit with how in my 30s I came to that conclusion, and then in my 40s I'm like, oh, it's just about me living my best life, letting my light
Mm-hmm.
shine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'll say part of getting there, we talk about exploring different paths, and you bring up some great examples of doing that with exploring the different passions you may have.
Right.
And for me it was a lot about introspection, because I think for you, you've always been able to, for you, you've just had multiple passions, and so, and
Right.
you've explored them. For me, I don't have a lot of passions. There's just like, like three big areas of my life that it's like I'm super passionate about. It's like my
Mm-hmm.
family, my
Mm-hmm.
cats. No, I do
Can't
love my
forget about the
cats.
cats.
Yeah, no. uh and so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so for me, I've always been more in my head, as far as I have to think these things through. And
Mm-hmm.
which is good and bad, because my father's called me an overthinker. And I know that for myself. No, thank you, Bobby. Thanks, but no thanks.
Right.
And but that is also me being introspective. There are times I'm not just overthinking. There are times where I just have to peel back the layers and always ask myself the questions, the why,
The
and get to the
wise,
root of
yes.
what it is for me. And
Right.
so one, I want to talk through one thing that you and I did, an exercise you and I did in 2020, that really helped me even crystallize, like, what does living my best life look like, right? And part of that was identifying my mission. And we did
Mm-hmm.
this exercise, and I don't know if you remember.
I
It
remember
was,
we were on the beach.
yes, we did it for, okay, so it was
If
actually,
you know, if you knew then.
don't even wait, no, I got the name of the book, I'm bringing it up right now. But just to give people some context, our father had just passed away in March, and we were now in Florida helping my mom pack up her home. And it was 3 months later, it's June 2020, COVID is in full effect, and
Mm-hmm.
then we had the race, BLM, riots and things like that, and the protest and
Mm-hmm.
all that happening around the country. And it was just a very chaotic time in our lives. It was a chaotic time for everyone, but for us, in a way that it was just, it was a very
Yeah.
painful time for us. And
Yeah.
so I forgot how I came across this book, but it's by this man, named Brian Tracy. The book is called Goals: How to Get Everything You Want Faster Than you ever thought possible. I don't know how I found the book, but I probably gravitated because reading the words, everything you want faster than you ever thought possible.
That's
I'm a
what drew
sucker.
you.
I'm a sucker. I'm like,
That's
oh,
what drew
fast.
you.
But that's the humanity in me, right? Like, "Ooh, I want
Right.
fast. I want it now."
Right. Right.
But that book was so good because it really helped. It asked us a series of questions, and it was an audiobook, and I still have the audiobook. And it was an
Mm-hmm.
audiobook, and we would listen to it on the balcony looking
Yeah.
at the ocean, because my parents had a beautiful apartment looking at the Atlantic Ocean. And we were just like asking each other these questions and answering them, but it made me really drill down.
Right.
and
Yeah.
and I was able to identify my mission. And I'm going to read this mission, because when I'd read it last night in preparation for this,
I
and
need to dig it up because I don't
no,
remember.
I was floored. I was just like, holy shit, oh, I'm doing it, right? So, number one question: what is my mission?
Mm-hmm.
My mission is to uplift my community.
Look at what.
Okay, that was just basic. That was just the one line.
Mhm.
And then I
Mhm.
expanded it in September of 2020. I said my mission is to free my people from systemic oppression economically, agriculturally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically, and mentally. I'm sharing this with you
What?
guys because if you're listening this far, then you're my friend.
Okay.
And I want to share this with you. But this I forgot that I wrote this, but I still have been living it.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
podcast. And so that book had such a great exercise because it really was like helping you peel back and be introspective. It was asking you questions about what brings you joy. What are the
Yeah.
negative
Yeah.
thoughts you have? How do you
Yes.
combat, how do you combat those negative thoughts? What are the positive thoughts that can, replace those?
Mhm.
Like, what are your
Mhm.
limitations? What do you want? What do you want in life without limitations? Like, that was one of the best things when I was reading my notes. There was a wonderful line that, I mean, it was just the instruction of write down all the things, I forgot what it was, but exactly, but it's like, something along the lines of write down all the things you want, or all the things that make you
Mhm.
happy, or
Mhm.
all the things that you desire in life without limitation.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
qualifier is so important because, oh, I was writing all the things down. And
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
what makes you happy? One of the things that made me happy was like always looking fly. That makes me feel good. It was like, what makes you feel good? That was what it was. And I was like, always looking fly. I don't know what to tell you. Yes, but I
Right.
like to
Yeah.
look
No, that's
nice.
right. It made you feel. It makes you feel good. Yeah. Yeah. But to
And
to that
and
point,
those
it's
were the
just
types of
yes.
exercises that
Mhm.
help me identify my mission. Now,
Mhm.
that's not my purpose in life, but having that mission gives me the intention, right? Like my
Yeah.
purpose now, I already know is living my best life, but I'm living my best life and I know I'm helping guide whoever I need to guide with my
Yes.
experience because we're not gurus and we never said we were. And I'm not an expert on anything but myself. Now, you take what you want from that.
Right. Right.
I share this with you because we're peoples, we're friends, we're family, we're community. And like I said, my most basic mission is to uplift my community. I want to see my people thrive because I'm thriving.
Right. So it's like you want to bring everybody along as you should.
Right.
Yes, I'm doing well. I want everybody
And
else
so the
to
one
do
thing
well
when I
too.
said agriculturally, because I talked about big food, like
Right.
I'm like mind
Hmm.
blown that like the topics we've discussed on our podcast, all the topics are all the things
It's all relatable. Hmm.
that I specifically outline in my more detailed mission. And I won't I won't belabor this anymore, but the whole idea is that you naturally move in the direction of the things that you write down, of what it is you're being clear about, what your intentions are. And so that
Yes, it's important to be clear, y'all.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
And honestly, whether I don't care about what religion you follow, what it is, whether you believe or not, but for me, prayer is another thing
Hmm. Hmm.
that helped me to explore.
Yeah.
I tap on my divine team. I tap into my ancestors.
Yep.
The creator always.
All day, every day.
I give praise all the time. Every day I wake up. Thank you for this breath.
Yeah. Lead me on that path. Tell me what direction I need to go to. Yeah, it's
What do you think are some what has helped you find purpose rather, or what have you come across that has helped others find purpose?
I think well, for me it's exploring, right? And I talked a lot about that, and you took me back to those days that we were doing that exercise, and it was
Hmm.
a really good exercise because it really
And we didn't
forced you
finish
to
it. We need to
we
finish it,
didn't.
Nachi.
I know.
Let's finish it.
We do. It really had you thinking about, and I appreciate the freedom of thinking those questions through because, especially when it asks you about if you had no limitations, what would you do? How would you do
Right.
it? What would you want? And when
Mm-hmm.
you think in those ways, in those terms,
It's liberating.
it is very liberating. You don't even think about the things that, yes, that would limit you
Mm-hmm.
from doing whatever it is that you want to do. So when you don't have to deal with that or worry about that, you start opening your mind to many possibilities. But for me, it's always exploring. I reflect a bit, but I like to do because I need to feel it. If it don't feel good, I can't move on.
That's the
But
generator in you, the manifesting generator in you.
yeah, no, it is. It is. I have to feel good. If I don't feel like, if this doesn't energize me in some kind of way
Mm-hmm.
where I'm just like, "Oh, I love this. I can't wait to do this." Then I don't want to be bothered with it. So I don't
Right.
reflect on it. I don't think about it. I don't belabor it. What would it be like, or what? I
Mm-hmm.
just because that if I do too much reflecting, it does put a hold on me, and I don't want that.
I need to
So
do less of that, I've been told.
so I like to do figure it out. Don't like it? Okay, let's move on.
So I've heard. No,
Don't do
that's
that.
dope. I know.
Yeah.
But I think if people, whether or not you get this book, I'm gonna put it in the show notes because
Hmm.
it was a fantastic book, and
No, it was. It
I really.
really had you. And I and now that you brought that up, I'm gonna go back to my notes because I need to look
I'm
back to
glad I
see
put
like
it in
what.
my. I put it also. I hand wrote notes and I put it in the notes app
Yeah, I
in
think I
on my
put mine
iPhone.
in. Yeah, I think I
I'm
put
so
mine
happy I
in
did.
notes in on iPhone too. So I need to look. I need to go back
But
and see
but
if
I
I can
think
find it.
right. So for those folks that may not want to get the book, and you don't have to, but you could very easily just think of your happiest moments in life, your most joyous moments. Think about what triggered that. Then it's
Mhm.
like start figuring out what was the context of you being in that moment. Start to drill down to the root of why that person, place, or thing made you feel so good. And
Mhm.
like we've already
Mhm.
said, do ask yourself these questions without limitations. This will definitely help you start to identify what your mission is, or even ultimately lead into what your purpose in life is. And
Yeah, I
so,
would also just kind of adding on
mhm,
to that in exploring your strength and what in addition to your reflection, your self-reflection,
mhm,
I would say reach out to close friends and family that know you, that see you. They
mm,
sometimes they can identify some of your strength that you didn't even realize. And I just thought about this because I was listening to a different podcast, and she was just talking about, kind of going back to what you love, and
mhm,
she was just sharing how she was at a particular job, and she was leaving it, but she didn't know what to do next. And so she decided to ask her friends and some family members what are her strengths and what are her weakness. And a lot of they shared with her made her realize that she really does love to write. And
wow.
yeah, and she was just like, and they
She
had
didn't even
brought
think that that could be
no, she didn't think that that
something
was
she could
something that she
pursue
could
as a
write.
career
And
too.
they were like, yeah, why don't you go back to blogging and doing all this? You were so great, and your
Wow,
your
look at
content
that.
was fun, and she just didn't think about it. But she remembered how much joy it brought her when she was doing it, and she said, you know what, I need to just go back to that and even starting slow with that. So,
Right.
yeah, if you having trouble trying to figure that out for yourself, ask some friends and family, because
That's a
trust
great
me,
point.
yeah, we can, as a friend, as a sister, I could tell, I could say, you know, Damaris and I will talk about stuff about each other, and we'll
Sister, tell me, what am I good at? I need to hear it now. What should I pursue?
Girl, you're already pursuing it. But we
Do whatever the
always
hell
pick
I
each
want.
other. Yeah, but we always pick each other up, right? We
No, yeah,
always
we do.
that we're not doing what we should be doing or not on the right path. We are able
You mean when we're
to
on the
speak
ledge?
life. We are able to speak life into each other. And I feel like you can reach if you're in a place where you're trying to figure out like what should I do? I don't know. What am I good at? I don't know what
I
I'm
mean,
good at.
sometimes we do that, and then sometimes we're on the ledge together, and we're doing a Thumb and Louise. But
Girl.
I love that about us. It's the realest thing y'all gonna ever fucking
Girl.
get. That's for sure.
Mm.
The fact that I'm sharing my mission is huge for me because that to
Hmm.
me is a pretty private thing that
Yeah.
I've not shared with anyone other than you.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I think it's important to share my part of my journey, that part of my journey.
Yeah.
And
No, I think it's
the
good.
agricultural part, sidebar, for anybody who's listening to this, I really want to figure out and be inspired in how to use blockchain to help Black farmers.
Mm.
I know there's a
Hmm.
way to really use that technology to help them with the distribution of their product and their
Yeah.
produce and crops. I don't know. I just need to be shown the path of how that can be done. But that's
And
something
you'll
that's
be shown.
part of my mission. So,
Yeah.
but going back to what we were just discussing, the journey of finding your purpose, and like I said, for me, it crystallized over the last 4 years. And really, when we did that exercise and identifying our mission, identifying those things about getting to our goals, and again, putting the context around that time was not a good time for us. So
Hmm.
there are times when you may you may come to enlightenment at your lowest, and that's usually sometimes when you need that, because that's when your ass is finally still. That's when
Yeah.
you don't have a choice but to sit your ass down. and and for us, we were mentally, physically,
We were
emotionally
just,
just at our lowest.
yeah, we were.
And so this reminds me of this piece of information I came across that I told you about like a week or so ago, where the song, so the group Soul to Soul, UK band. If you know, you know, you should know because they have some bangers, some classics. One of their most famous iconic songs is "However Do You Want Me," right? I'm not even going to sing it because I just don't have her voice. The lead singer is
You
Karen
don't want to
Wheeler.
sing?
Girl, no. But it's like if you watch the movie Belly, remember when he walks into the club? Yeah, that song
Yeah.
that's playing in the background. But it has, whenever I heard that song, I would just feel a way. It was just like, it was, I always felt like dancing, singing, because once that bass dropped, it was just like, yes, however do you want me, right?
Hmm.
And I never really paid much attention to the lyrics because, I mean, other than like, however do you need me? However do you want me, right? I'm like, yeah, I love it. But I found out recently that the singer, Karen Wheeler, she is the writer also for the song. And that song was written off of about a near death experience that she had. And basically what happened to her was that in this experience, she crossed over, was about to cross over, and she said it was so wonderful in that space. And then she came back to Earth.
She was like,
Life
wow.
was brought back to her. And yes, and she was not happy about it because it was so good where she was. So this is her talking to the creator, and she talks about this. She says she was mad. She says she was like, "Why do you want me here? However do you want me? What do you need from me?" She says, I'm talking to the creator, but it sounds like a party song. And I'm like,
Right,
yes,
right.
thanks to
Look,
your
it's about
partner.
the bank, yes.
But tell me how that summer when we rented a house in Florida so we can grieve
Hmm.
together as a family,
Yes.
we would play that song. We would
Every
stop what
day.
we were doing and we would just
every
start
day.
jamming like,
Yes.
and who knew that that was a praise song?
Yeah, that was we played that every
But I'm gonna tell you, that's
day.
something in our blood.
Mm.
That's part of the diaspora. You know,
Yeah.
that's the, because you heard that bass, which is, you know, basically a synthetic version of the drum,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you're just like, yeah. And now knowing that, it makes sense to me. It's no wonder I felt this way.
Yeah.
No fucking doy. This this song makes me feel a way every time I listen to it. It's always on my playlist. Every playlist I have is that song is on it.
And now knowing what where the lyrics come from,
You're welcome,
even-
guys. You're welcome.
it's
Yes,
even more
great.
impactful.
I love it even more. So, how do we? There's when you even trying to live out your purpose, you're always going to get some static from some place, somebody trying to stop you being you.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are those challenges?
I feel like I feel one of the challenges is fear. Fear is always an obstacle in exploring and looking into new things. So if you think about, when you shared your mission, you didn't know what that would look like, right? And here you are now doing this podcast. You could have easily been discouraged of even trying, of even taking that leap of faith and making that step of, okay, I'm just going to do this. You didn't
Right.
know how, what to do. You just said, I'm going to do that. And I feel even though that there might have been some fear behind it, it's you still moved on. You still pushed forward and we did it together. Right? It wasn't something
Nachi,
that
you
either
want to hear
one.
something funny too? Because I looked at my goals book that I've not put anything in a very long time,
Uh-huh.
shamefully. In 2021, I said I want to be a guest on a podcast, and then
Mm.
in and then I also had a longer term goal of having my own podcast series. I forgot I had that,
You
even
put
when,
that.
yes, Nashi, even when we even when I proposed the idea of a podcast to you,
Oh
I
my God. You
forgot that
forgot
I
all
wrote
about
that.
that.
Yes, 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 yes.
That is so funny.
I
I
forgot that I wrote
am
that.
That's crazy. But, again, but look at that. You wrote that. And let's just imagine, had you
But wait, how
taken
come
it
when I
so,
wrote that I want to be a millionaire, I still, where is that? I've written, I want, I'm like, where are my millions, guys? Where are my millions?
God is like, stop playing with me, girl. Like, really, I need you to stop playing with me.
I'm like, why I wrote that other stuff down? That's come to fruition. Where's my money?
He's like, you living good, right? Okay.
Right,
Like,
right.
stop playing with me.
You
Stop
know what?
playing
Let
with
me
me.
shut up. Okay. Before it's taken, I giveth and I taketh. Don't take
Okay.
it.
Real quick. Real quick.
I am grateful for what I have.
But yeah, it's you're and part of that fear is being judged.
Yes.
And we talk about that as well. We're afraid to be judged, and that's just something that
Yeah.
we've
We're
come up.
conditioned
Yes, we've come
from
accustomed
family,
to it because of of what we dealt with growing
society.
up and with society. It's like everything you do is
Yes.
being judged. You have to go with what the quote unquote norm is, and sometimes you shouldn't care. If this
No.
is what's bringing you, if this is what you want to do and you know that it's bringing you joy. And it's funny because it's I say these things to my own children, but they still have their own fear. And half the time I'm nearly begging them, like, forget about what other people thinking about.
Right, right.
And I know it's hard. You have peer pressure, you have, you know, just
Yeah.
everybody else
Your own negative thoughts.
placing judgment on you, and exactly, and your own self, when you're just judging yourself about
Yeah.
things because you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough for this, oh, who am I to do a podcast? Right.
Girl.
and and
And
we
you know
talked
we
about
want,
that.
yes,
Yeah, we
yes.
talked about that.
I
We
mean, I
talked
still
about
hate my
that.
voice.
But you know what?
It's what it is. I don't care. I
It is
mean, what
right.
am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
You have to move past those fears. You have to do it while being scared, and
Right.
it's
Right.
okay, right?
Yeah.
It's okay
It,
because
it requires you to be vulnerable. That's the bottom
it
line.
does.
It
Yes.
when to overcome these obstacles, there's no one shot panacea. There's not this one way to do it. You just have to be open to being vulnerable because that's just what it is.
Yeah.
You're
People
gonna be
talking
out there.
about you either way.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, we here.
Exactly. And so and you can be your own worst enemy.
Oh yeah.
So knowing, and this is where you really have to work and put effort in killing those negative thoughts, replacing that with positive thoughts, and not just like on some toxic positive, some bullshit positive platitudes like you are the best. No, it's right. It's you replace that with the things that you desire the most in life, and you need to believe it. You need to say that with faith and know and just rally for yourself. Be your own biggest cheerleader. Like
Yeah.
when I talk about, oh, how I was in my corporate job, I knew I was the best. Not just because they told me that, but because I knew it. And yeah, it may sound like, oh my goodness, you are so full of yourself talking about who else is gonna do it for me?
Right. Right.
I'm
Right.
not waiting for you to give me my flowers. I
Exactly.
know I did a fantastic job.
Who's going to question that? Who is going to
Right.
question?
So and so but it's not easy to, especially when you have your own negative thoughts, and that's where it's like you have to kill the weed at the source. You have to figure out why you think in this way. You have to ask yourself those questions, why, and answer them and be honest. Sit with
Mm-hmm.
yourself and be honest, and that's not going to be easy, but that is the
Yeah.
only way you're going to kill those negative thoughts, because they're going
Yeah.
to keep coming up if you don't address why you're even having them.
And
So
also,
mhm,
yeah, taking action too. It doesn't have to. You may have these big goals, right?
mhm,
But if you take these small actions, and I'm just going to use um, like our podcast as an example. We said we wanted to do this, right? We didn't know how we were going to do this, or what it entailed, but we took small steps. You said, "Oh, I know someone who I can talk to," and you spoke to that person. So it's just like
thank you,
it's about
Patrick.
yes. So it's about taking those steps, right? It's just, and I think that helps with mitigating those fears that you're having that's
Right.
keeping you stuck. You know, on top of affirming that you got this and you can do this and move forward.
Because at the end of the day, the whole point of trying to find your purpose is to enhance your overall well-being and joy.
Right.
I truly believe that if we align our purpose, if I truly believe that if we align with our purpose, we are happier beings. Period, point blank. This doesn't mean that you're never going to go through trials and tribulations,
Right.
because that wouldn't be life. You could then never distinguish happy moments from other moments if your life is happy. No.
Yeah. There are peaks and there
But
are
this is how,
valleys.
right, and this is how you appreciate those moments even more, because you know what it's like when they're not there.
Right.
But the point is living in joy, right? Cuz happiness is just that moment. But you could always still live a life of joy. And
Yeah.
so you can get there when you are aligned with your purpose. And that doesn't mean that, oh, it's you having an amazing, your dream job. First of all, who dreams of labor? But it's
Right. Right.
okay.
But again,
But
the
again,
job may be something that you are passionate about,
right.
right?
That was the point I was trying to get to, is that sometimes it's not always like, oh, it's me not being at this job. Everyone's not an
Mhm.
entrepreneur either.
Right. Yes.
So
No. It's
Don't
not about
assume. That's what
finding.
you have
Yeah.
to really, your path is unique. Your purpose is unique to you. And don't think that because, oh, this person works for themselves, that this is the way to go. This is when I'll be truly happy. No, you may not be, not if it's not within you to be that, to have that kind of
Right.
lifestyle, because it is
Right.
a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we've outlined a lot of different steps to discovering your purpose, but just to kind of cover some of them that we talked about is identify those creative expressions that you have. Nachi, you talked about that because that's one of your outlets, one of the ways you
Yeah.
find what brings you joy and your purpose. And something that you've always done that's been really big for you is journaling prompts.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it's funny because I started journaling more now, only because personally I'm just dealing with some things in my own life that I feel like it affects my weight, right?
Mm,
And and for me to kind of chop down through that, it helps me to write down my feelings.
mm, right,
And in terms of, when we're talking about exploring your purpose, write down what it is that you're seeking, you
right.
know, write down what's holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
Right, write down, and trust me, when you start writing, it's just like it's a floodgate, because I would write pages and pages
Right,
of
right.
just my feelings, because it's just coming, because it's all in my head, and
Yeah.
I just have
And
to
you
let
need
it
an
go.
outlet.
And
You
that's,
need to
yes,
release it.
and that is my process, is to let out whatever's in my head so that I can think clearer. That's how I
Right,
operate, and that's meditative for me. And
right,
so I have to let it all out so that I am open and can hear what I am supposed to do. What's my
right.
next
You
step?
made room in your mind by
Yes.
releasing that stuff. You've made room in your mind to allow yourself to allow the ideas that need to come to you,
Yes.
because now
Yes.
there's space.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I want to just say too about the connection between like purpose and fulfillment. For finding purpose helps me go through life with more intention. That's
Yeah,
how it serves me. And
I agree.
I think when you have the purpose, it makes you more present. And when you're more present, you enjoy the moments in life more and you have more fun. And who doesn't
Yeah,
want to have fun?
of
Who does
course.
not want to have more fun?
Right, right, right. It makes life more exciting
Yes,
when you're
yes.
living in that joy.
But yeah, but I think we've given people a lot of things to think about in terms of helping discover your purpose,
Hmm.
between journaling, doing the exercise of identifying your passions, what makes you happy. And I know you wrote in here, Nachi, volunteer opportunities, which I think is great too, because you should want to test out those things that
Yeah,
could potentially could spark some joy in your life.
exactly. No, I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. It doesn't
It's a
require
way of,
a commitment, but it
no.
just requires commitment of your time at that moment. And so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there there's all these things that our listeners can walk away with, and and take some time to sit with yourself
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
just let it come. But before we close out, we have a new segment. I'm so excited. It is where it's our section where we're going to give shout outs to people that have shown us love.
Yay.
Yes. It's kind of like Romper Room. If you know, you know. You remember Romper Room, Nachi? Oh my God.
Yes, yes. They never said my name, but
No, they were never going. They're like, I see Stacy. I see Lisa. Where was
you don't see
Damaris? Where was Nachi? Hell no, bitch. But so we want to give shout outs first and foremost. First shout out goes to Liz. That's the homie
Nancy.
Liz. We love you. We love you. We love you.
Yes, we love you.
She donated 5 cafecitos on our donation
Thank
page.
you.
So hold on one second. Oh shit. Cash register. Thank you, Liz, for the 5 cafecitos donation.
We
And
love
then,
you.
yes, we love her. And then now we're going to get into those folks that have taken the time out to write reviews for us on Apple Podcast platform. Giving a shout out to our wonderful cousin, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, stand up.
Yes.
Queens in the house. For leaving us our first 5-star review. We might need to read these reviews another time. Should we read them? Nah, y'all just go to the Apple podcast page, but I'm going to shout out the name. Then followed by Lindsay. She was our second. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Calling us authentic and all nice and stuff. She's saying that we the podcast that we've been waiting for. No, I should actually read these. They're kind of funny. They're nice. And then we have RDLS. Thank you for the 5 stars. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Shout out to the Culture Cult Show. Also 5-star review. And we were on her show, so you have to
Yes.
check her out. Awesome
Yes.
show, awesome travel show. Another podcast. Love you, Marie. Then another 5-star review by Den Guys. Wonderful words. Thank you so much. Definitely, you guys should read the reviews. I think next time we'll read them out. I don't know.
You could
Who
do that.
cares? And then lastly, Key Lane. Ow, 5 stars. She, I already know. She's a homie. So
Thank you.
yes, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to donate with your money or with your words. It means a lot for us. It helps us with discoverability, and it goes a long way with helping us reach out to our community and expanding. So appreciate you guys a lot. More than
Yes, we
words can
definitely
say.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. And so, as always, we'll close out with there's a lot of noise out there, but our message is consistent. Stop getting distracted by the smoke and mirrors. Tune out the noise and focus on your divine purpose in life. Vibrate higher to elevate your frequency. And always, thank you for listening.